Hi there, my name's Andy Hillier and today's guitar lesson is going to be on Lead Me Home by Jamie and Commons. I believe it was used in The Walking Dead. Beautiful little song, finger picking, great fun to play. I'm going to teach you how to play the whole song, but just before I do, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, which is Andy Hillier, give me a like on the video, press the notifications, leave me some comments in the comment section, including what songs I should do next, and just let me know where in the world you're watching this from. And if you love what I'm doing, you want to support me, support the channel, keep me doing this, and you want the tabs for this and loads of other songs, then you can support me on my Patreon page. Link to that is in the description. My guitar is in drop D tuning, so the top string is tuned down 2 semitones to a D, the rest are all the same, and then I've got a capo on fret number 4, so we've got this. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky, this finger picking part. Finger picking all the way through the song. The first line of it sounds like this. So to play that, I'm going to place my little finger on B3 and my second finger on G2. Okay, and we're going to play the E string. I know I've dropped it down to a D, but I'll still call it an E string or else I get confused. So E string, and then the D string and the G2 at the same time. So I'm using my thumb and a finger to pluck that. So it goes. I then hammer on my third finger onto fret 3 of the G string. So you got so far. Then my thumb's going to play the A string, and then I'm going to play the B3. So slowly you've got. We then play the D string and the G2 again and do another hammer on onto G3. Then play an A string and then the B string. So from the beginning slowly. Then another E string, open G, so you take your finger off, then open D, and then you hammer on your second finger onto the G2. So that might feel a bit weird. Okay, so the whole of the first bar slowly. Into bar 2, you're going to play the open E, and then D and G2. Then hammer your third finger onto D3. So you've got then E, B3, another E string. So far in bar 2 you've got. Then hit the same D and G2, hammer onto the D3, E, B3, E, then G2, and then play the open D. So the whole of bar 2 slowly goes. Okay, so the whole line slowly, you got this. A bit faster. And up speed. Okay, that'll take some practice, that's pretty tricky. That line repeats, so this is the intro. You play that twice, then you go on to the next line where we've got this. Okay, so we're going to keep the little finger on the B3 all the way through. Third finger is going to go up to the E3, second finger on G2. And you can play the E3, open D and G2, then E3 again, then B3, and then D and G2. So you got. We then go to the first finger on E2, take your third finger off. So first finger's on E2, second finger on the G2 still, little finger stays on the B3. And you're going to play the E string and the G string at the same time, so E2 and G2. then E2, B3, E2, then open G, then open D. So we go. So the whole of bar 3 goes. And then on into bar 4, and it's similar to what we've sort of played already. Little finger on B3, second finger on G2. So you play the E, then the D and G2, then A, then B3, and then D. So then the same D and the G2, hammer onto G3, A string, B3, and we've done this already, E, the open G, the open D, and then you hammer on your finger onto the G2, so bar 4. And then bar 5, open E, D and G2, open E, B3, D, E and G2 at the same time, then E on its own, B3, E, G2, and then open D. So bar 5 goes. Let's just play bars 4 and 5 slowly. You got this. Make sure you do practice those 2 bars because it uses those 2 bars in the verse as well. Let's play the whole line slowly. You got this. A bit faster. Okay, so that's the second line of the intro. On to the next line, and it's almost identical to the first line of the intro. There's just a couple of little changes. So the first line of the verse goes. Okay, so open E, D and G2, hammer onto G3, open E, B3, and open E. So it's got an extra couple of low E's there. So I've got then open E and G2, hammer onto G3, another open E, B3, and then 2 open E's. So bar number 6. Bar 7, open E, then D and G2, hammer on to the D3, play the E string, B3, E, D and G2, hammer on to the D3 again, open E, B3, open E, G2, and then open D. So bar 7. So bars 6 and 7 go. Faster. Those 2 bars repeat, so you play that line twice. We then go on to the next line, where the first bar, we've got this. So it's kind of similar to what we did in the intro, but it lasts for a whole bar rather than lasting 2 beats. So little finger on E3, third finger on B, sorry, little finger on the B3, third finger on E3 nearest to your face, and second finger on G2. And you're going to play the E3, open D and G2, E3, then B3, and then D on its own. So then E3 and G2, open D, B3, then E3 nearest to your face, then open D and G2. So bar 8 slowly. Then bar 9, take your second finger off, just your little finger stays on the E3, first finger is going to go on the E2. So little finger on B3, first finger on E2. And you play the E2, then open D and G, E3, B3, then D. So you got then E2, D and G, E2, B3, and then E2. So bar 9 slowly. And then the last 2 bars are the same as the last 2 bars of the intro. So you've already played that. So that line goes like this. Bit faster. Okay, and then that repeats back to the beginning of the verse and plays the first line of the verse twice, and then it plays this line again. And then this next little bit we've got to learn is a little middle 8. So after the sort of second verse, it's kind of verse chorus anyway, but after that it goes to this middle 8. We've got this. Okay, so A1 with the first finger, second finger on G2 again, little finger on B3. And you play A1, A1 and G2, then A1, B3, A1. So you got then A1 and G2 at the same time, A1, B3, A1, then A1 and G2 at the same time. So you've got into bar number 13, we take the second finger off, move it to the D2, and we're going to play the E string, D2 and G, E, B3, E. So you got then D2 and G, E, B3, E, B3, and then D and G2. So bar 13. That feels a little bit weird. And then bar 14 and 15 are exactly the same as what we did at the end of the verse and the end of the intro. So you've got so we play that again. So the whole line slowly with this middle 8 goes. And that middle 8 repeats. You play it twice through. You then go back to the verse, but on this next verse, you're going to repeat the second line of the verse twice. And then you play this last little section. It just goes. So E3 and then D and G2. And then E2 with open D and G2. E2 with open D and G, then open E with D and G2. So it slows down. It's just like the very last bit goes. And that's the whole song. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed that guitar lesson and found it useful. If you have, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, which is Andy Hillier. Give me a like on the video, press the notifications. I do read every comment, so please leave me some comments in the comment section Let me know where in the world you're from. It's really interesting for me. I'm just making these videos here in England and people are watching them all around the world, so it's kind of crazy. So let me know where you come from. If you just want to say hi, just say hi. And if you've got any ideas for future videos, that would be amazing. And if you love what I'm doing, you want to support me, support the channel, and you want the tabs for this because there's quite a lot going on, then I'll put it on my Patreon page. A link to that is in the description. Well, thanks for watching this. I do really appreciate it. I've been Andy Hillier, and I'll see you next time.